Android, on the other hand, you've only got, one main thing happening at a time, but you can have these different widgets going. So I've got, the HTC Sense UI is really cool because it has some neat widgets. This is Footprints, which is kind of a geotagging, photo, GPS-enabled widget kind of thing. Here's their Mail widget, which taps into HTC's Mail application, which I prefer very much so to the standard Android Mail application. There's a clock widget on top, the analog, this dual world time clock, and then I've got some shortcuts to different applications. Here's another screen where I've got, I get rid of that Airborne Toxic Event. I downloaded that album. I was all into that one hit single for like a day and a half, and now I'm over it. And yeah, I'm done. Anyway, here's your music player widget and a Twitter widget. Here's the calendar. And then this screen is blank still, and so I'll go and I'll add an HTC widget, and let's add the people widget. And so I'll select a widget style. There's only one widget style, so I'll choose that one. And there you go. It's my favorite contacts called up, my PhoneDog buddies. And then, and I went into detail on this on the iPhone 3GS versus Hero videos, so you can check that out if you want more detail. But basically, this is a widget that lets you show quick contact or quick access to your favorite contacts, as many as you want in there, but really only 3 will show at a time, sort of 4. And it's nice because it updates automatically when you have a new piece of communication from one of those contacts. So I've got something new from Aaron, and so I'll click on Aaron. There's an unread Gmail message from Aaron. You can see down there with the number 1. So that's pretty cool. I think that's something that's really nice about the HTC Sense UI, which is that it's very people-centric in terms of not just informing you when you have a new email or a new voicemail or something like that, but actually you can break it down in terms of who are they from and notify me when I have communications from certain people, or tapping into, I can link to Aaron, my Facebook profile, or Aaron, my Facebook account, and then I can link into, if Aaron has a Facebook profile, I can link to that. So when Aaron has new events on Facebook or some other social networks, I can see those. Again, when Aaron's online albums are updated, I can get a ping about that. You can do that with any of your contacts. And it's pretty neat what HTC's done here as far as integrating, pretty deeply with both your local contacts and your online contacts. Palm's Synergy system does a similar thing. It's not, I would say HTC's got a little bit of an edge in terms of if you're one of those people who, again, you really want to know, like for me, I might have all my PhoneDog people set up as favorites. And when I want to know, not just when I have new messages, but when I have messages from those people, HTC, I think, has a little bit of an edge in terms of the way they've implemented their people-centric stuff, if you will. But Palm does a really nice job as well with their Synergy system, which pulls down your contacts. You set up a Palm profile, and you can link to online accounts with contacts and all that kind of stuff, and it pulls them down from the cloud also. And so you've got all your contacts in here. So you can have local contacts, or Gmail contacts, or Facebook contacts, or whatever. And I had to scroll to an area here where there wasn't an email address, because some of my contacts, I'm not good about keeping my contacts, all that information, totally organized the way it should be. And so for some people, instead of their name, I just have their email address as their name, and I didn't want to show any of that off. All right, and so that brings us on to look at messaging on the two phones. And messaging, wait, let me stop for a second before we get to messaging. Voice calling, pretty quickly. I don't always talk a lot about voice calling on the devices in these reviews, and it's not because I take it for granted, but I should be more explicit about it. Voice calling honestly really depends a lot on where you are, what network you're using, what the network coverage is like, where you are. So where I am right now in Oakland, California, in this particular location, voice calling on the Pre is better than voice calling on the Hero. But that isn't because of the hardware, that's because of network coverage. Sprint's voice network, where I'm doing this video right now, is better than AT&T's. I have an AT&T SIM card in the Hero. When I've tried the phones out in locations where both devices have a good, even though I've got the full bars here on the AT&T on the Hero, in general, I've found that in this location, the Pre performs a little bit better. When I'm in a place where I have full coverage on both phones, like if I were to make calls right now without moving these two devices, so I had full coverage, they're about equal. Voice quality is good on both phones. They both, have their advantages in terms of the size, and, the Hero's got the little chin that kind of angles the microphone towards your mouth when you're talking. But, on the other hand, the Pre, when it's slid open, also kind of has that curved feel. So they both perform well, I think, in terms of voice quality. One thing is that because the Pre is a CDMA phone, you can't do voice and data at the same time as you can on a GSM phone like the Hero. Some people don't care about that, some do. So there you go. Anyway, to get back to messaging, which we were just about to talk about, this is an area where both phones do really well, but I think the Pre has a slight advantage. You can see a little wiggle there on the Pre as I slid it shut. A little bit of play. I know all slider phones have that. The Pre, some people have complained about that, but anyway. So the Pre, what's really nice about the Pre is that it integrates SMS and IM messaging into one continuous thread. And that's something that you might not ever use, or you might use a lot, depending on your conversational habits and who you talk to and that kind of thing. So I sent myself a bunch of messages from another phone via SMS and then also from IM accounts. And so when I go to them on the Pre, so I've got all of my messages right here, and you can see that some are from SMS and some are from an AIM account. And so I was able to kind of have one conversation, with Noah Kravitz. Pretend for a minute that this isn't just me talking to myself, but you know what I mean. On the Pre, I was able to have this conversation with this contact of mine, and the conversation went from SMS to IM account, kind of back and forth, and they were able, it was all in one spot for me, even though the contact moved from, text messaging to an IM account. And that can be kind of handy when you're having conversations that take place, asynchronously, meaning, not always in real time, over the course of a long time. And say I was text messaging with somebody while I was on my way to work, or they were on their way to work, and then we kind of finished the conversation up. They pinged me. They were on their way to work text messaging, and I was getting it on my Pre, and then they got to work and IM me, and then I was able to see all of those all in one spot, which would be kind of nice. Now you can see at the bottom there, when I went to do it on the Hero, I sent an IM message from the same account to the Hero, and so it came here also because I was logged in multiple places. So that's just, don't worry about that. That's just so you're not confused by why does it say Hi Hero. But basically the point is that what's nice about the Pre is that it pulls your different modes of communication, different messaging, SMS or IM, together into one spot. And then also for an individual contact, you can have, multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, multiple different types of IM, AIM or Gtalk or whatever you use. You can have those in contacts on the Hero as well, but with the Pre, it'll pull them all together in one place, which is nice. And you can see, I have different photos assigned to my different my different virtual identities. Just, my different accounts have different photos. And it shows there, and then it separates, what I said on the Pre from what the person talking to me said by different color, and then you can go through and you can delete, individual parts of the thread as well. And so it's a really nice system. On the Hero, it's a little different because you don't have, even though your contacts can have, IM and SMS and multiple accounts and everything all in one spot, you don't have that integrated messaging all in one spot on the Hero. So instead, I've got notifications here that Palringo, which is a free multi-protocol IM client available in the Android market, I've got 2 new messages from Palringo. So those are IM messages. But then I've also got SMS messages waiting for me also. So if I go to the SMS message, you can see I've got, this conversation happening between, me, the Hero, wrote to Noah to say hi, and then Noah from another phone wrote back and said, Hi Hero. And so I've got those happening. And then if I go to Palringo, I've also got 1 new IM message from Krabby Crab. And so, that Krabby Crab is the same IM account that was sending messages to Pre. But again, because on Hero it's not all consolidated in one place, SMS and IM, I've got these separately going on. And it's not as confusing as it may seem right now because I'm using, just trying to illustrate the difference, but basically I prefer the Pre just a little bit better in the way that it pulls IMs and SMSs together, and if your contacts are set up correctly, it will pull, you know, all of your messages from Noah Kravitz or Aaron Baker or John Doe or whoever, all into one nice thread, whether they're IM or text or a combination of both, or, you know, MMS. And so that's really nice. On the Hero, it functions more like a traditional cell phone in the sense that you've got your SMS, MMS in one place and your IMs separately running in an IM client. But you get notifications for all of them, you know, in both systems, which is nice. We'll look also at two other things that I really want to touch on, and you know, without getting the videos going too long here, because we could just do this all day. The two other things I want to touch on really are